Howdy folks, TJ here. Thought it was time to go ahead and make a video of my history with the Specky Next, a computer that you know, if you've been watching this channel, that I've fallen in love with. But it's been 8 years since I kind of fell into this whole Specky world, and I thought I would chat about it. Maybe go back in time a little bit and look at the history of where I first saw it, why I got involved with it. Now, many years later, 8 years later, I actually write an article every issue of the Next magazine. That's come a long way. And plus, I have the Specky Sinclair Society Facebook group that is now 3,200 members. Part of it is because of my YouTube channel and my history and love for falling in love with it and documenting everything from videos to the Facebook groups. I'm involved with other groups like the Specky Next group. Specky Next group is up to like 18,000 people. That's a lot of eyeballs and people playing with the Specky Next. What a fun, vibrant community it is. Could it be better? More prolific in terms of games coming out for it? Well, sure, there's always something that we have to complain about, right? We want more. We always want. But remember, it's you that helps drive this as well. So if you want something, maybe you need to spin around and make some stuff as well. Instead of just wanting, you need to make. And even if that make is not a physical product, but a newsletter, or contribute to some type of Facebook group with expressing your love for it. If you sit back and don't do anything, you can't expect everybody else to do it for you. But I thought I would go back and say, how has my time in this world of Specky been? Has it been easy? Has it been hard? Am I still enjoying it? It's 8 years later. Obviously, I'm still making videos, so I must like it a little bit. But let's go back in time. And I thought the best way to do that is to step back for me to 2017 when I learned about this Spectrum Next Kickstarter. What is this? What is this unique computer? Do I need one? So let's chat about that. But we're going to need to go look at that Spectrum Next Kickstarter 1 to look at the web page together and see what popped out at me to then drive and help drive me to become my little, I'm just a little footnote in this world of Specky Next. But as well as you are a little footnote too, and as long as you get a lot of little feet notes in there, it builds up a tribe of people that fall in love with something, and what drives it. Without you, without me, without developers, without people enjoying it, it would just basically be made and then fall by the wayside. That hasn't happened yet, thank goodness. There's even rumor of another Spectrum Next Kickstarter maybe this year. So who knows what's going to happen in our world, but it's 8 years old, at least in my world, because my world of Specky Next goes back to 2017 when that first Kickstarter was announced. So let me turn off the camera. We're going to boot up this computer behind us. Let's go to that Kickstarter page. There's a number of reasons why I fell in love with it, but I'll show you what made me go over that line saying, you know what? I need to get involved. I need to look into this deeper. So let me turn off the camera. Let's check out a video together. Okay, I've scrumbled over to the Kickstarter. This dates back to 2017. I'm focused in on the screen, so I may be a little dark, TJ, this morning. But this is where I all of a sudden found out about the Spectrum Next. Actually, I found out about it in Facebook. I saw some Facebook posts from other retro computer platforms that I was on. And in those, they talked about this Next computer. What is this? I've got to explore it. And I looked at it and I go, yeah, that's kind of neat. Maybe I should look at it. So I looked at the Kickstarter. Did I join the Kickstarter? Yes and no. No, originally, I did not sign up and give my money to it. But then later, as the years progressed, because it took a number of years for this computer to come out, I then purchased somebody else's pledge. A nice bloke in the United States offered to sell me his pledge at basically what he paid for it. So I am a Specky Next Kickstarter 1 owner, but it didn't start out that way because at the time, the funds were a little too tight. And this was, I'll be truthful, a little bit much for me to afford. But I figured out a way to make that happen later on. So I was perusing this site, and I went down and decided to play this video. Let's watch the video together. I'm gonna, hopefully I can make this video bigger on screen. And I'm gonna be, this is kind of a, what do you call it? It's not a review, but it is a reaction to the video here. And I'm gonna let you know what jumped out at me and what enticed me to say, TJ, you really should explore this platform deeper. Even if you don't buy one, maybe you will later. So watch this video. So let me start the video and let me see. Yeah, stop. Let me expand to the whole screen, and then we're going to focus in and play this together. Hopefully there's no copyright stuff on this. I'm basically touting their thing, so it shouldn't, but one never knows. So we're going to focus in. This is, it should be under legal rights for me to say, hey, I'm basically doing a reaction to this. And anyway, so let's watch this together, and I'll stop it and pause it here and there. So let's watch. Is the volume up high enough? I think so.
We're here at Rockborn Place, where some 35 years ago...
So I had no idea who Henrique was at the time. Now I know.
About. And this is not just a computer. This is a machine that started a cultural movement that was captured on this magazine, Your Sinclair. And this happened to be made right here in Rockborn Place. The Spectrum elevated the concept of making games to a brand new level. And this is what we're going to talk about. The Specky got a lot of good people.
So this is my first introduction to these two blokes. Henrique, obviously we know, and Jim Bagley. What's a Jim Bagley? I got to say, one of the reasons I consider these two rock stars, when I started watching this video, I go, these two guys are kind of cool. And I'll admit, you know, for not a bromance, but, you know, we kind of say they've got charisma, certain charisma about people sucks you in, like a Steve Jobs type of personality. And you kind of go, well, I kind of want to get to know these guys. They're kind of cool. So I all of a sudden saw this long-haired dude. I'm kind of bald. I can grow a bitchin' beard, though. But let's continue on. So this is my first... who's a Jim Bagley? I didn't know who a Jim Bagley was at the time. Remember, I'm an Atarian. I fell in love with Atari in the 1970s, and it was my first computer. Although I considered a ZX80 early on, and if you watched my channel, go back and watch some of the older videos, you'll know that I did consider a Sinclair at the time. But anyway, let's continue watching.
Programming back in the day, including myself, and we opened the box under the Christmas tree and found out it was a beautifully designed Sinclair ZXSpectrum. Plugged it into the telly, started playing games and making them themselves.
See, a telly here in the United States is a telephone, not a television. But I can see why you could go both ways with it. For some reason, by the way, I thought Jim Bagley was Scottish. I think I said that one time in a video. I go, oh, I like this Scottish guy. I don't know why. Anyway, maybe because he looks like, you know, I think of like dwarfs like Gimli and Lord of the Rings. I think of them as Scottish. I don't know why. Are dwarfs Scottish? Anyway, he's got the long hair, and I just thought, okay, this guy's from Scotland. Sorry. It is what it is.
That's how we got into game development back in the day. And now, 3 decades later, we want the next generation to experience the same thing.
Together with two incredibly talented hardware hackers,
now, right here,
Truco and Padre Benvenuto, we recreated...
What's the name of that horror movie that they did live time, and it seemed like it was a real thing where there's a girl and 2 guys, and they go out in like a forest, and the video was all over the place. It was bouncing. Right now, I'm like, his head's cut off here. You know, you kind of get a little woozy. I remember when I was watching this, I go, this is reminding me of that horror film. I can't remember the name of it, but everybody thought it was real. But it ended up being just a fake movie. I'll remember it off camera. Anyway, so right here, looks like he's in front of a church of some kind or something. But the video is a little bit all over, and I remembered it going, hey, this is throwing me off a little bit.
And brought it back to date. neatly packing a lot of new features into just one case designed by the legendary original Sinclair designer Rick Dickinson. And this?
So Rick Dickinson, first time that I heard that name, I had no idea what a Rich Dickinson was. Now I know, obviously from the Specky fame, but I'm starting to get names, I'm starting to collect information, I'm starting to see faces of people that seem excited about what they're talking about. So it's sucking me in a little bit, even though the camera is bouncing around a little bit. I don't know. Was Jim Bagley doing the videoing here? That would probably say what's going on. He was probably going, oh, Henrique. You know, he was all over the place too. Anyway, continue on.
This is the Spectrum Next. Well, it's actually a picture of it because we need this Kickstarter to make it all happen.
So that's when I start seeing the Spectrum Next picture. I love the black and I love the sexy. I love black computers. I'm not a fan of beige computers, even though my Atari 800 is beige, but it was a special beige. It was a dark, granular, not PC beige. It was a kick-ass beige. But black? Oh yeah, I love the black computers. So right away I start seeing eye candy. I start seeing a keyboard. When you get a keyboard in the mix, I start saying that's a real computer. It's not a little box that you have to buy a separate generic keyboard for. This is something that's being built from the ground up, which I appreciate. And I'm starting to say, is this proper lineage? Is this a lineage of Sinclair? I want to be involved in something that is special, that's part of the original. You got that Rick Dickinson guy, right? Did I call him Rich earlier? Rick Dickinson. Anyway, continue on.
But before you say, oh, here we go again, check this out.
Next, already exists.
Now, I didn't realize, see, at this earlier stage, that there were some other Kickstarters in the world of Specky that didn't go quite the way they should have, right? So maybe that was his little laughable moment, like, yeah, people are thinking, okay, this is not real. But then Henrique pops in with a PC board. So it got my attention.
Exists. In fact, we have been working on several designs for the past few months until we reached the final form, which already works.
Developers, including myself, have been working on it for the past 12 months to make sure that you've got some decent new games to play and good content, and it's ready to go.
Exactly. We want to ensure that any Kickstarter that we do runs smoothly.
Now we'll stop it. Kickstarter runs smoothly. See, I'm doing this whole. Did it run smoothly? So as we know, Kickstarters. I've done a number of Kickstarters over the years. I can't think of any that went perfectly smooth. And I've got to say, out of all of them, the Spectrum Next took a lot longer. Everybody knows it. I mean, Kickstarter 1 did, Kickstarter 2 did. Rumor is a Kickstarter 3 may come. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe third time's the charm. But we know that we all had to wait for a long time, which I was fine with. I have plenty of other computers to tinker with. And it allowed me to buy other non-Specky Next Speckies to start learning. Why do I want to get involved with this? I hadn't up to then splurged and purchased a Specky Next. So I go, okay, I'll use my money wisely. I'll buy some original Specky stuff and see if it's something I really want to get. And maybe later I'll be able to buy one kind of thing. So let's continue on. Before we continue on, where is he at like a school that's got, there's a lot of old-time plumbing. It's like a gymnasium or something. So maybe this is a popular place. Look, there's some old-time meters up here that are probably measuring gas or fluid going through the hoses, pipes. Anyway, so interesting backdrops.
Spectrum Next is fully compatible with the original Spectrum, down to cycle timing, which means that it will run every game and demo out there, no matter how complicated they are.
That got me too. That go, okay, Specky Next is going to run the old stuff. So I will, even though I wasn't part of the early world of Specky, I can learn it along the way and play some of the stuff that you over there, because over here in the United States, let's face it, it wasn't a big deal. But over there it was a big computer. So I wanted to learn a bit, and being able to play the stuff of old was important for me. So I go, cool, bring it on.
But not only that, we have added a lot of new features into it. Like you can hook it up to your TV using HDMI, or if you have an old CRT monitor, you can do that for RGB or even VGA. You can also load games from your SD card, but if you have that old feeling of wanting to hear it loading from tape, you can still do it. And even have the original bus connector, which allows you to hook up any hardware that you have for the original Spectrum.
So bus connector, all the connectors are there. It was telling me, TJ, this is going to be an upgraded, updated, a guy that was at Sinclair that designed the original Specky is part of this. I'm starting to put one and one together, thinking, okay, this is legit. This seems like it is something I want to be involved with. It is not just making a box that's going to play something of old. You've got some of the lineage. I love the lineage part of it. Even though over the years I've seen some people say, that's not a real Specky. This is as close as a real Specky, and in my opinion, it is a real Specky. It's got lineage from the original team. The current copyright, or I should say owners of the Sinclair brand, gave these people approval to do this. It's the real deal, folks. I don't care if it's FPGA. Look, that's a new modern chip that basically is mimicking exactly what the old chip is. It's not emulation. It is just a newer chip that's being able to do the stuff of new and the stuff of old. This is the real deal, in my opinion. If it's not in yours, that's fine. We all got our opinions.
And then we went to town expanding it. We've added a Wi-Fi module, a real-time clock, 0.5 meg of RAM, expandable to 2.5 meg. We've added a mouse and keyboard.
You can see they're working on stuff. Look at those wires and everything. They're crossing stuff over and they're finding bugs and early days of stuff. I don't own one of the original boards. I don't know if I would be, at this point, I'm glad to be a Kickstarter 1 and 2 owner. But I don't know if I need to go back in time and collect one of these. If I found one cheap enough, maybe just because I've built up a little bit of a reputation in the world of Specky Next. I'm still just a small footnote, so I don't know if I necessarily need this. But if one came my way at some point, I'd happily show it off and actually try to use it. Nothing normally sits in a vault here in my home. If you're not being used, the odds are you're going to not be here too long. I like to use my stuff.
And a joypad port, and we've got an expansion port.
Look, there's only one joypad port.
Expansion port.
There's only one here, right? Only one joystick port early on. Interesting.
It's an accelerator port for the world's cheapest accelerator there is, a Raspberry Pi Zero that only costs £5. Not that you need it though, the Next already runs at 7 MHz, twice as fast as the original Spectrum.
We, like you guys, love the Spectrum and everything about it.
So this picture of these two together side by side, I started formulating, okay, there's some people over there that are friends, that enjoy something, they're together, you can see a passion involved in the two of them. So as the video went on, it was a little monotone at first, but then it started building to this ending session where I saw more smiles and a little bit more excitement out of the two of them.
Spectrum Next is a work of passion, a machine that is as awesome as it looks. And we hope that it will bring about a new generation of games for all of us to try out.
And we hope you join us to make this happen.
And they ended with a smile, and then they show some of this here. So I started saying, okay, these two guys are rock stars in my little world.
Yeah, I can see that in the shot.
So bloopers.
And we opened the box of the
Not only that, we wanted the new players. Completely forgot everything.
Yes!
So the very end of that video caught me. I go, okay, that was funny. So apparently, probably Henrique only failed and made him boo-boo once, and the rest of the time was Jim Bagley making boo-boos and faux pas. No idea if that was the case, but okay. So I saw that video. Pretty cool video. I like going back and we'll talk about that later because I think there's something to say deeper about that. But on this, I want to scroll and show you one more thing. So that grabbed me, the video, and I started reading and I started getting a better understanding of what this was all about. I'm not going to play this other video, but down here is another video that caught my attention. Where the heck are you? There you go. Let me just start it and then stop it.
Hi, I'm Philip Oliver.
Can you expand it? So I see these two dudes, and I go, hey, Jay, these two guys look similar. Maybe they're brothers. Apparently they're twins. They're the Oliver twins. I didn't know what an Oliver twin was. And then I see this castle. They're in a freaking castle. Now, I don't know if this is theirs, if this is at their company. Still don't know. But I started saying, okay, this is fun. I love this world of cartoony animation, real people. They're in a kingdom. I go, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this. So let me move the camera out now, and let me actually turn off this. We're going to do this live. We're going to move the said camera back a little bit, and we're going to focus up over here. I'm going to turn off this light. Oh, it's so dark. But I'm going to turn on a little bit of ambient light over here to kind of make things pop. I can't see where the on button is. There we go. Okay. And then I got to turn on one more light. And then we'll focus in on the screen and we'll talk a little bit more. This is a long video. I do appreciate you hanging out with me. Let me stop it, and I'm going to start up again just so I can make sure that the focus is not in some weird thing. Okay, now I'm back. So, fun videos. That started the whole excitement for me many years ago. I saw that video. I go, is it enough for me to... I'm trying to think, was it $400 and some odd US that I would have had to pay at the time? And I had some other monies in some other projects at the time. I go, you know what? I just can't afford it. I can't do it. So I opted not to do it. Stupidly, but it all worked out in the end, right? So years go by. 2017 is when this Kickstarter happened, and the Kickstarter one didn't ship until 2020. That's when I received mine. Luckily, in those years up to there, I started buying older Spectrums. My first was either the Timex Sinclair TS2068, and at the same time, I purchased the Omni laptop. So I had those two coming in side by side almost around the same time. I immediately started playing with them. I immediately started buying other stuff. I immediately started exploring, you know what? I want to make a video game. Should I make it for my old Atari? No. I've fallen in love with this new Specky. Let's create it on the Specky. And I created it on my Omni laptop with using the manual that came with my 2068. I started tinkering with the 2068, but then I went to a full-bore Omni laptop, and I created Invasion of the Cloud People, the original game, on the Specky. If a video game / computer system got me super excited to make a video game, there's something to be said about that platform. I could have very easily did this with the Atari 800. But just watching that video and going, this is really fresh and new. I've never done this before. I've never had this computer before. I wanted to do it and fell in love with the vision of the Specky Next coming at some point. So I go, let's learn how to program and make a video game. And I did. I made a video game and I put it up on itch and people downloaded it and played it. And how exciting. I started learning more about it, and then I started buying more Spectrums because it took forever for the Specky Next to come. And at first, I didn't even have one locked in. It was just, okay, I'm going to buy one that if they happen to have some extra, or maybe somebody will sell one, or who knows. Luckily, I started seeing how exciting the whole world of Specky is, and I forgot how it started, but I by then already had YouTube videos going. My whole YouTube, I've been on YouTube since 2007, but there was barely any videos, and I didn't have a focus. This whole world of Specky brought a focus to my older 8-bit video vintage computer world, and I started pumping out lots of videos. I wanted to document what was going on, and I was excited about it. But I didn't have my name in on the dang Specky Next, and that's the computer that really juiced me up. At some point in time, either something I said, like, oh, I don't have a Spectrum Next, I'm not part of it, whatever it is. I don't remember quite, but it was probably in the Facebook Specky Next group, and a bloke saw my post and basically, I think, messaged me, or maybe he posted, I'm going to sell it, and then I responded to him. I don't remember. I'd have to go back, but somehow we got in communication, and he was in the United States, and said that I would sell you my pledge. And with any time you're buying somebody else's pledge on something that may never ship, I was a little worried. I didn't really know the guy. He ended up being really cool, nice guy, honest. I was able to buy his pledge, and then for a good, I think it was another year that I had to wait. So it wasn't like I didn't experience what you all experienced, plunking down money on something you may or may not receive. So I went through all of that, from buying the pledge to watching updates as they came. I started making videos, lots of videos. I started getting a little bit of a name for myself, I guess, in the world of Specky. Like, who the hell's this USA guy that likes Specky? There's no sense to that. It makes no sense. But the heart, it doesn't make sense at times, does it? You fall in love with something, and obviously it's not fake. I'm still here 8 years later. So either I'm a real idiot or I'm a real good actor. I mean, I'm sure I'm a good actor on April's Fools. That is where I can do some screwing around with people that's kind of fun, and I have a fallback on, well, it was April Fools. I was lying. I was acting. But no, obviously, I fell in love with the Specky Next. I started making lots of videos. I started tinkering. And then finally, the Spectrum Next arrived. Spectrum Next arrived. I started making more videos. I started learning more. And the whole purpose of me buying a Spectrum Next by then was, I want to make a Spectrum Next video game. I can use 7 megahertz, or I can even go up to 28 megahertz by the time the end of the thing came. I have a screaming Specky that I can make a video game for and carry over that 1980s Invasion of the Cloud People idea that I had on the Atari 800 that never happened because fast girls and, or is it hot girls and fast cars? Fast girls and hot cars. Either way, they're awesome. I fell in love with that side. So I didn't make any video game for the 800, but I did learn player missile graphics. I did start making a video game. It never happened. Instead, I'm now in my 50s, and I'm making it happen with the Specky Next and the older Spectrums. So I took that video game idea from the Invasion of the Cloud People, the original one for the Specky 48, and I said, we're going to bump it up a notch. We're going to make this a next version of the game. And I started tinkering. I started programming. I started reading. I started asking, and I made a video game. Do I have the... Hold on a second here. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen this ad nauseum. Is that how you say it? Because I loved what I did, and I'm proud of what I did. But I made my own Specky Next video game called Invasion of the Cloud People, The Next Storm. Original, it was only digital. But then this last year, I said, TJ, I'm going to make a hard copy for myself. That self turned out to a whole thing of me making 50 copies, actually 54. A deck of cards has 54 cards, 52 real cards, 2 jokers. Let's make just a lot of 54. Each person gets a playing card. I don't think I've ever seen any other video game do that. I wanted to make this special. I wanted to, make one for myself. But then other people said, if you make another one, I'll buy one from you. Okay, well, that's another dream come true. What kid back in the 1980s didn't dream of making a video game and selling it? A bedroom coder. That's the whole world of bedroom coding. I was a bedroom/home office coder, and I made a video game, and I go, let's make a physical version and better understand how this whole... Oh, the dogs are barking. I'm going to have to let them out. No, let them bark. They'll shut up. Anyway, I'm going to put them out, and we'll come back. This is going to be a long video, but this is my next story. Next story. We'll talk about that in a second, so hold tight. Okay, I let the mongrels out. So, where was I? So yeah, I made 54. I came up with a whole idea, throwing in lots of eye candy, lots of fun perks of buying a physical game from a little Claude Popples kit that you make your own. I came up with a mascot, Claude Popples. He's a little pom-pom critter. All these beer coasters. I came up with beer coaster. I got some of these things handy. Maybe I should show some of these things. It's probably going to focus in on my face, but here's Claude. Oh, where are you, Claude? Hold on to your horses. Here's Claude Popples. Here's a beer coaster. I made these things to be part of the physical game, and last year I sold 50 copies of my game. I kept 4. And that's a nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Maybe at some point I'll do something with one of my own personal copies, but that's not going to be this year. Right now, I'm actually making 20 more singles. And I think my whole thinking is I'm going to make a total of 100 of these. I've sent out 50. I'm making another 20. Depending on the tariff situation, I can't afford to buy an SD card for $20. Everything's going up in price. So I don't know if I'll make more, but I'm making 20 more right now. I've already shipped 5 of the 20. So 15 more I've got to make. Anyway, I made a video game, physical form, and sold it. So I got the whole me being part of the 1980s Specky world, making video games, selling a video game. How cool is that? How can I not love the Specky Next at this point, just from memories alone? Even if I stopped today, made no more videos, and just dropped off, no longer doing anything, I'm pretty happy of what I've accomplished, the people I've met. I've made a little bit of a name for myself, not big, but a little bit. People know, hey, that's that crazy USA guy that loves the Specky Next. Doesn't make sense, but he loves it. And I fallen in love with it. Am I still in love with it? It's 8 years. This Kickstarter started back in 2017, April. So that's 8 years ago, if I'm doing my math right, of when the Kickstarter started. 8 years later, I'm still making videos. I'm still using my Spectrum Next weekly, not daily. I've got other computers here in the house, as you can tell, that I use, but I use my Specky Next very frequently. Maybe if I'm nudged at some point, I'll make another video game one day. Or like I said, maybe at some point, I'm just going to be tired of making videos and halt this whole thing, because it is a lot of work. People think making YouTube videos is a cinch. No, it is not. In fact, I think I'm going to make a video later on this year about my whole little YouTube channel, why the heck I do it still. But yeah, I'm still pretty excited. I continue to watch The Next World daily. I'm still part of many groups. I am writing an article for every Next magazine. So I've come a long ways. I've got a Sinclair Society Facebook group that's got over 3,000 members. A lot's going on, and I continue to be excited. Would I like to see more video games that are Spectrum Next specific? Yes. If I look back at the number of years, there's lots of action in the world of Specky. A lot of the action seems to be on the older Spectrum. I see a lot of new games popping up on itch all the time. With the Spectrum Next, it's a little different. It's more of one pops up every now and then, and a lot of times the one that comes out does end up having a physical copy. So there's been some fun physical copies of games created. I doubt there's much money to be made in the world of making Spectrum Next video games. It's not a full-time occupation, I think, for anybody. They're doing this out of a labor of love. Sure, I'm sure they want to recollect what they're paying and a little bit for their time, but no one's making, I think, big money on the world of Spectrum Next. So it needs to be driven from the heart, from you wanting to participate, from you being involved. If you sit back and only complain, that's your fault. You need to become involved. If not enough video games are coming out, then learn how to make one. Get down, learn. If I can make a video game, you can make a video game. So maybe it's time for you to pick up the Next magazine, get a subscription, start tinkering with programming, and make a video game. And so you can say, okay, I can see how hard this is. Maybe that's why there's not 10 new games coming out every month. So participate, be part of the community. It's 18,000 people on the Spectrum Next group alone. It's still an exciting time. Will we see a Kickstarter 3 come about? I don't know. Will TJ participate? Will it be part of my next story? Probably not, if they don't add something that's gonna... I've already got 2. I've got Kickstarter 1 and 2. If 3 is the same exact, and the rumor is that it's going to be, odds are I won't buy a 3rd one. Now, if they had teased that clear one, and they keep saying we can't make a clear next, but if they ended up saying, you know what, we decided to go ahead and make a clear one anyway, even though you can only see a little bit on the sides, maybe they'll add a little light or a little something, and yes, I would buy a clear one in a heartbeat. A white one? No. You can see the price of them. They did sell some white ones. I think there's some people that, did they spend $1,000 on buying one? I don't have that kind of money. I'm sorry. But if there was a clear one that was for the mass production, oh yeah, I think I would do it. But my next story, how long will it continue? I don't know. I'm still excited about it. I still use my Next all the time. I see new people posting in the Next Facebook group, 3 or 4 people of games that they're creating on the Next that are kind of, I picture people like me, a common man, but probably much smarter than me and probably know a lot more about programming, that are making games for the Next, and they're documenting it. They're putting stuff out there, and it's kind of fun to watch it, not from a seasoned programmer, although some of them I think are seasoned programmers and, again, know what they're doing. I came in as a complete novice, and I love actually watching other people that come in as a complete novice learning to make a game. So if you haven't made a game yet, get off your keister, make one. Maybe it's time. But I love being part of this community. I do have a Next story, as you can see. I'm hoping that the Next story continues on for many, many years, that I participate, that I can participate, that I have fun participating in it, and I can continue doing what I'm doing. Hopefully the Next magazine continues on for many years, that I continue to be part of it. Maybe one day they'll say, TJ, we no longer need you, buddy. You're out of here. Then maybe if I'm not writing in the magazine and my enjoyment on making videos has faltered and maybe something else has kicked into my life, at some point I can't say I'll do it forever. But today I envision me doing this, well, forever. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed my little Next story from the older video. We kind of viewed it together. Does that excite you? And I'll end with this. Sometimes going back means it can help you move forward. What does that mean? So I fly fish. And when I fly fish, there's a particular video about tenkara that I fell in love with, much like the video I watched on the Next. When I saw that video back in 2008, 9-ish, I go, I want to fly fish. I want to do that kind of fly fishing. I fell in love with the video. Particular parts of the video jumped out at me, and I go, wow, that looks fun. And today, I go back and watch that same video that's now 15 years old at the beginning of every fly fishing season, because my season is seasonable. I can't fish all year long. Certain parts of the time my rivers close. Before season starts, I watch the same video, just like I watched that video, going back in time watching the Spectrum Next video. I watch it, I get rekindled, I get excited again. So if you need a little kick in the keister, go back and watch that video every year around this time, going, you know, I'm glad to be part of the Spectrum Next community. So thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day. If you're not subbing to my channel, sub, because if my subs keep going up, I'm going to probably make more videos. If they start going downwards, then I know it's time to bail. It's time to jump out of the ship, because I'm going to make another video, but the amount of hours I put in every year to making videos and all this stuff, my God, I could have probably built a couple of houses here on my property. Time differently spent, I could have did some other things, but I'm spending time with you and I enjoy it. So until that enjoyment stops, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. Bye.